Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is the 22nd tutorial in this course, and in this tutorial we are going to talk about the continue statement in Python. And the continue statement lets us pass a block of code or skip an iteration of a loop, right? So unlike the break statement, in which when the break statement is executed you completely get out of the loop, what happens when you encounter a continue statement is you skip the rest of the code in that iteration, and then you get back to testing the condition for your loop, and you see if you want to proceed further with the iterations or not. So break completely gets you out of a loop, whereas continue lets you skip an iteration, right? So we're going to make a very simple program as we did in the case of break. We're going to make a similar program, in fact. So we're going to use a for loop here, and the variable for my for loop, I'm going to call it var, and I'll use the range function to make the variable loop from 1 to 15, right? So the upper limit is going to be 16, and I'll put in a colon, and if I do not use the continue statement, and if I simply use the print function to display the value of the variable, let me save the file, and when I run it, I see numbers from 1 to 15 on the screen. Now let's say I want to skip a few iterations. That is, I do not want to display numbers between 13 and let's say 13 and 9, right? So if I want to skip those iterations, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an if statement in my loop, and I'm going to check if var is in the range 9 to 14 is going to be the upper limit if I want to check whether the number is between 9 and 13, right? So if I want to skip iterations when the value of the variable is between 9 to 13, the upper limit for the range function is going to be 14, right? So if that is the case, then what we're going to do is we are going to type in the keyword continue here, right? And if that is not the case, then we are going to have an else block, and that is when we will display the value of the variable on screen, right? So let me save this file, and when I run it now, I see that I get numbers from 1 to 8, and then numbers from 9 to 13 are skipped because of the continue statement, and then I see numbers 14 and 15, right? So that's what the continue statement is used for in any programming language. In Python, this is the syntax. You don't have to put in a semicolon after the keyword. You don't have to do anything else. You just type in the keyword simply, just as we did with break. We're going to check out another example of the continue statement just to emphasize things properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask the user to enter a string of text, and then we are going to remove all the space characters from that string, and we're going to display all the characters individually except the space characters, right? So obviously let's display a message using the print function to instruct the user what it is supposed to do. So I simply display enter a string. That's comprehensive enough, and then on the next line I'll use the input function to get the user input, and I'll store it in the variable var. I'll use the for loop to iterate over the characters in the string. So I'm going to use letter as my dummy variable, the in operator, and then I'll simply type in a variable that holds the string, which in this case is var. I'll put in a colon to get inside the body of for, and then I'll use the if statement to check whether the character encountered and the character stored in the variable letter, if that is equal to a space, right? So between two single quotes I'll have a space character, and if that is the case, then we want to continue. And if that's not the case, then we are going to use the else block to have a print statement to display the value that's there in the variable letter. So I'll save this file, and when I run the program, I see the message enter a string. So if I type in something like hello world, which has one space character, if I press the enter key, I see HELLO, and then I see world. So the space character between the O of hello and the W of world is missing. That's not displayed, right? So that character was present in the string, but since we've used the continue statement to not print that character, because the if block is going to execute, and this condition is going to value to true for the space character, and that's why we're going to continue. We're going to go to the next iteration with the value w for the variable letter, and we're going to proceed with the program. So I hope you guys had fun watching this tutorial. I'll see you in the next one, in which we'll discuss something interesting again, and you may subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.